Are you bored with most late game matches in StarCraft 2 that happen so often nowadays? Like those 40-minute Cyril versus player X, where they slowly trade blows to each other until one of them runs out of resources. Well, let me tell you, it was actually way worse in the past. In fact, we have a lot of terrible matches which lasted more than a couple of hours, and today we'll be discussing exactly one of them. This was really a special battle. It lasted 4 in-game hours, led to disqualifications, and also had a verbal controversy and some other misbehaviors. So let's begin. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more and check out other StarCraft 2 related content. The year 2015, out of the Swarm expansion. The game was in a pretty rusty state, and the devs were planning the new add-on and HOTS balance was really off. That was the period of infamous Swarm hosts, the beast that could spawn a lot of free units and create endless waves of non-stopping attacks. Zerg players had little variety, and if they wanted to win, they had to rely on Swarm hosts. However, there was no easy way to defeat this playstyle for Terran and Protoss, so eventually each match would either end with a quick rush or drag out for many hours. It was both annoying to play and boring to watch. The notorious match that sparked a lot of balance discussion happened between Mana and Firecake. It was the longest tournament match ever in StarCraft 2, and I already have a video about this one on my channel. But in 2015, their record was beaten by ZhueGeLiang and Lillekanin. Both players were relatively unknown at those times. None of them had any prominent results so far, but they were pretty skillful grandmaster players who tried to qualify for WCS 2015 Season 1. They met at Deadwing, one of the largest maps in the map pool, and it should have been an action-packed game. Unlike ZVP, ZVT matchup was usually full of small engagements with Marines and Link Banes, where most matches with Bioterran were really dynamic. However, at around minute 8, the Danish player Lillekanin chose to play mech, a playstyle that would be characterized as rather passive. And you might think, oh no, ZhueGeLiang would choose Swarmhost as a perfect counter for immobile army, but he actually goes for Mutas to end this quickly with a surprise attack.
Oh, turret is gonna fall, and Muta did fall at the last second. Thor is here, and they do clump up a little bit, so they are gonna get wiped out. And yeah, it gets, like a Thor is enough to scare that many Mutas away.
But despite his best attempts, the Finnish player ZhueGeLiang is forced to play Swarmhost anyways to counter his passive opponent. The game becomes really slow, with only pieces of Muta harass and some dull engagements with free units at the front, and none of the players can break one another, but Lillekanin is locked on his 4 bases, while ZhueGeLiang is free to roam on the map and gather all the resources. And yet the Danish player found a way out of the tough spot. He built a huge pack of Ravens, and this unit was a lot different in Heart of the Swarm. It could send hurtful seeker missiles as well as put down point defense drones that would negate all the damage from Zerg units. And of course it was a bit imbalanced.
Okay, PDD's getting hunted down. PDD's going down. Hunter seeker missiles onto the Swarm host. Gonna get all of those. And some workers. Gonna fly over here, do that to the rest of them. And, I would like to see turrets get shut down at the same time, right? Turrets would help clean this up.
Despite this stalemate at the front line, so far the match seems really interesting, even though it's a bit slower than expected. For a Zerg player it was hard to deal with Ravens, Vipers didn't have a parasitic bomb, and the Corruptors couldn't break the point defense drones, so he had to lurk around to find something that is exposed to his attack. And the next half an hour were pretty much this way. Each player tried to cause at least some damage while also keeping their expensive units safe and alive. Sadly for Lillekanin, he was still mining less resources, and even though his army seemed unbreakable, he couldn't execute a proper engagement under the heavy fire of Zerg spores. And then, after more than 1 hour of fighting, ZhueGeLiang had amassed a fortune and had enough resources to rebuild his army many more times. And then finally, after a series of free units and abilities exchanged, Lillekanin chose to go for a crazy, risky attack.
A couple of turrets. Oh my god, we have free units fighting free units. Or energy-based units fighting energy-based units. Infestors fighting fucking turrets. Fucking turrets, man. What the bloody hell.
The next minutes were full of trading blows. Lillekanin was clearing the map with his ravens while ZhueGeLiang tried his best to interfere and catch his units. At that point there was no room for mistakes since both players had no gas income. And what's worse for the Terran player, he couldn't repair his precious ravens. He also tried some Helen attacks, but with no much success. And then, tired of meaningless war, the Danish player chose to accept his destiny.
Happening. You just got loads of shit. Okay, loads of hunter-seeking missiles. Bungle does lock a lot of the ravens down. And of course, Lillekanin is not really dropping far into place. Oh my god! Oh no! He's got to drop down a ton of BDDs here to keep everything alive. He's like, this is why you don't split up your armies. And this could actually be game ending now. Like, I would like to watch that on his point of view, just to see his face, because he's gonna see that like, what the fuck? He just lost so many supply.
After that engagement, the game was pretty much lost for Lillekanin. However, he didn't want to concede and decided to fly all his buildings and units in a corner, hoping to initiate a draw. This action stalled the game for another half an hour, as both players were too hesitant to attack. ZhueGeLiang could slowly abduct his units with Vipers, but it was really hard to do, and Lillekanin was cornered with little army left, but he could defend himself almost endlessly thanks to point defense drones and some leftover battlecruisers and Vikings.
We have an abduction, he gets a battlecruiser! How the fuck did he manage to see that? Okay, it gets yoinked again. Oh, bit of a misclick there. Okay.
Hopefully, it didn't last as long as everyone was afraid it would. ZhueGeLiang was slowly chopping off the Terran's army, and Lillekanin realized that it's over. However, he really wanted his last fight to be memorable within the StarCraft 2 community.
Oh my god, why doesn't he just attack? That is a good question. He's like, he must just be scared of like a good couple of hunter-seeking missiles just blowing his face apart, you know, right into them. That does get cleaned up. I'm a terrorist, Jai. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, he's suicide bombing. Fuck my life. That's game over.
This game became the new longest match in StarCraft 2 history. However, Lillekanin was disqualified from the tournament for his misconduct. Apart from typing sensitive things in the chat, he was also caught alt-tabbing and checking streams and chatting on Twitter. This game was just another example of how bad the state of the late game was in those days. And even though Lillekanin was trolling a bit too much, it was obvious for most viewers, as well as players, that such in-game situations just shouldn't happen. Hopefully, they didn't. Already in the same year, Legacy of the Void was released, and the game became quite different from what we just saw. But this match served as a bad example of how poorly designed a competitive game might be. And that's it for our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe for more and check out other StarCraft 2 related content on my channel. Have a good day, good luck, and have fun!